You have been supplying these great Queen City Chronicles, which I think is the highlight of our show every time we have them on.
Oh, I bet you say that to all the boys.
I do. I love them because, you know, Eddie, it's important that we know these stories for, you know, as we look back to know where we are. It influences our present, and I say, and always our future.
And there are so many great stories out there, and you just got to talk to people. You know, it's how I find out about a lot of these things. I talk to people, you know, old guys hanging out at a bar, you know, and but it's people who've been around, seasoned citizens, I like to call them, have stories that you don't find in books like this story that we're going to air in a couple of seconds here. I really knew about the building for a long time, but I was researching another story and happened to go to Fay Street, and a friend of mine, Alice McCarthy, who has a birthday today, by the way. She's watching. Happy birthday, Al. I think she's either 21 or a little bit older.
Oh.
She's legal to drink.
You know what? It's our producer's birthday as well, Frank Pacella. So he's like 21
and
too.
He's a saucy babe too. So you know, she used to live on Fay Street when she was younger, and so she was reminiscing about all the stuff that used to go back and forth, and I didn't realize that it was a direct conduit to the Wildroot plant. And I had known about the Wildroot company for years, and I knew that the building was in danger. And so that's what the story is about. At one point, the Wildroot company was the biggest manufacturer of hair tonic in the world. In the world, and their whole thing was because of World War II. There was an oil shortage, and they used lanolin instead of oil. All the other guys used oil, so it really gave them a leg up on the business, and they turned huge up until the original owner died in the early 60s, and then it was sold to Colgate-Palmolive, and then a couple of years later they pulled out, and it was the end of that company.
Okay, so shall we look at the story of Wildroot?
Wildroot. Once the future looked as bright as a sunny day for this Buffalo company, but as the weather changes, so do people's fortunes. Now, it seems that the mighty world headquarters of the Wildroot company may not live to see another season.
Wildroot keeps hair handsome and healthy looking, the way nature intended, neat but not greasy.
It's hard to believe, but Buffalo was once the men's hair care capital of the world.
Two barbers just mixed it up on their own. An investor came along. The same investor became the CEO and owner.
From the 30s through 60s, it was #1 in men's hair care. While some claimed a little dabble do ya or the wet head was dead, it was Wildroot that used lanolin to keep the dryness out and the grooming in.
When World War II hit and there were restrictions on oil, their product was able to take off.
But as so often happens, once the captain relinquishes control, the ship is led astray.
The original owner passed away, so there was an arrangement made to sell it to Colgate-Palmolive. Within 2 years, Colgate had migrated all of the production out of Buffalo and shut the plant down.
The building was used for other manufacturing plants through the 80s, but its fate today is precarious at best.
The building itself is one of the best structurally I've ever seen.
So if it's that solid, why does it sit vacant?
There's no one trying to sell it. If we could get the right combination of investors or companies that could utilize that kind of space, it's right on rail and transit.
Why not just knock it down? It's old, it's unused, let it go.
It will cost well over $1 million to take it down, but it makes far more economic sense to keep it standing and spend a little bit than spend a lot to get nothing.
Can you still get Wildroot someplace?
You can still get it. I've used it in my hair before. You
think it'll help me?
I think it'll do you great.
But seriously, can an abandoned factory in a poor part of town bring life back to itself and its neighborhood?
But it's still difficult to see a building like Wildroot, but the benefit to the community is immense once you get them turned around. So I think we're right on the edge. We just need to keep having successes to show people that it's worth it.
On the far east side of Buffalo, I'm Eddie Dobashevitz, and these are the Queen City Chronicles.
And you were saying that right now that building may be torn down?
Well, technically, the city doesn't own the building. Right now, nobody owns that building, and the city wants to knock it down. That's the mentality, I think, currently in some of these offices, that they want to knock stuff down, clear it away. But what are you going to have there? A parking lot when you're done? The thing is solid as a rock. I'm telling you, if a nuclear bomb goes off, you want to go there for protection. The thing is solid as can be. They spent over $1 million on the third floor 2 years before Colgate-Palmolive pulled out of it. So, to build a building like that would cost you $20–30 million today, and you have it right there. It could rejuvenate the neighborhood. It could rejuvenate our city. Look at what happened in Larkin.
Keep those stories coming.
Okay.
Okay?
Keep liking them.
I love them. I love them. All right, Eddie, thank you so much for being here and bringing us our Queen City Chronicles every week.
Stay warm.
Oh, I'll try.